Hey everybody, this is Holly with woodlandshits.com, and I have Kozhi Makai in the studio today. There's a list, an author, a poet and educator, a social researcher, speaker, life strategist, advisor, and so much more. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me about who is Kozhi Makai?
It's a really difficult question. I'm as goofy as they come.
I like that.
You know,
You're candid.
I tend to look at life very, very simply. There's life can be short, but it can also be long. And so I think, our role in life is to go out and do our best to thrive. And for people to thrive, they have to be themselves. And so I look at myself as a very unapologetic person. I'm okay with who I am and where I am. And whatever else comes, I'm okay with that as well.
Okay, awesome. So you've wrote a few books.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I saw five.
Five, correct.
Five books, and your most recent one is
The most recent one is Our I Do's Were Different, and
Okay.
it's a relationship book.
okay. And what got you inspired to write that book?
Candidly and honestly, pain.
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 Okay.
It's very cathartic for me to write. So whenever I do write, I'm often thinking about the things that have happened in my life or the things that I've heard happen in other people's lives, and I usually want to respond to someone's query. So oftentimes when I write a book, I'm usually writing it to one person and then a few other people get to read it, is the way I look at it. So I had seen how difficult it can be to manage relationships when the vision that you have for a relationship is different compared to the partner that you have. And that's relationships across the board. In this particular case, the book is specifically about personal relationships, but it's the same for professional relationships as well. When there isn't a vision that both people aspire towards or agree to, it makes it very difficult. Then your I do's become very, very different, and the results are usually very tenuous.
That makes complete sense. Absolute sense. Now you do a lot of public speaking, and I was looking at your website. You have a really cool mission. What is your mission?
Ultimately, what we want to do is to help people take their potential and transform it into performance. Every single one of us is gifted very, very uniquely. I think when we start to look at ourselves through the lens of our strengths rather than our weaknesses, we start to see the role that we have and the benefits that we can bring to the world in general.
Absolutely.
And to me, when I say the world in general, it's whatever sphere of influence that I have, whatever stage that I've been given to perform on, whether my stage is delivering mail, or my stage is being a janitor, or my stage is being the president of the United States. It really doesn't matter. There's certain gifts that have been given that have to be brought to bear. But it starts with me recognizing what those strengths are. And once those strengths have been discovered, it's about performance at that point. And I mean consistent performance. So we try to help our clients, first of all, figure out what their strengths are. We're research-based, so we really focus specifically on people's strengths. And once those strengths have been discovered, we try to help our clients meet their goals by performing effectively and efficiently on a regular basis.
Now tell me, who are some of your clients that you work with on a regular basis?
We work with different clients in different industries. I had a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine, and that question came up. Who's your ideal client? We really don't have an ideal client per se. Oftentimes, if they have a pulse, there's a chance for them to work with us.
Okay.
But really, we try to work with people who have potential, who've recognized their potential. And I understand that it's not really politically correct to assume that somebody doesn't have potential. So
Sure.
let me break it down in a way that makes sense. So I'm a former basketball player. I have no baseball skill at all. So I have zero potential for baseball. So if you put me in a situation to play baseball, I probably won't perform.
Right.
So we want to find people who do have that potential for whatever it is that they want to do in their lives, and then transform that into performance. And so we've had the pleasure of working with some wonderful people across industries. We've worked in the federal government. We've worked with companies like Starbucks. We've worked with companies like Walmart. But also we've worked with companies that most people would never know about. And I think that's what I like most about my job, is that I don't have to name drop. I don't have to
Sure.
work with people who are big. I can work with practically anyone as long as they have a desire to learn. They have a desire to explore who they really are, who they want to be, and where they want to go. So when you think about the types of clients I want to work with, I want to work with people who've got a great desire to become. You know, we call ourselves human beings, but I think we really should be humans becoming, because on a regular basis we're growing,
Absolutely.
we're improving.
I totally agree.
And the ultimate goal of being a human to me is to become smarter, wiser, healthier, more engaged in life. And I think when you start to look at life from that perspective, the avenues for helping people completely opens up.
I completely agree with you. Now, one of the topics that we wanted to chat about was managing family dynamics over the holidays. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I like Thanksgiving for multiple reasons. First of all, I grew up in Zambia, so we didn't have Thanksgiving. No pilgrims came.
No pilgrims.
No pilgrims. The British came, but there was no pilgrims in our case. But I love Thanksgiving because this is the one time we get together as a family, and we eat. And then we talk, we watch a football game, and we fall asleep, and then we do that same thing all over again.
Yes.
So I enjoy that part, even if I'm not really big on turkey. But it's very interesting to watch family dynamics. So I've got two sets of families. I've got my Zambian family. I'm the last of 9 in that family, and then I've got my American family here, and I'm the last of 7. And it's interesting to watch the dynamics between me and my siblings, between my siblings and themselves, and my parents and grandparents and my dad's siblings and so forth. And you look at this group, when we get together, it's about 100 people when we get together for Thanksgiving.
That's a lot of turkey.
It's yes, several turkeys have to die for us to eat.
Yes. Thank you.
But it's something that I can recognize, because when I was growing up in Zambia, lots of chickens had to die for us to feed nine kids,
Absolutely.
7 boys. But
and boys can eat, man.
we could,
Yeah.
we could, and most of my siblings are bigger than I am, and bigger and taller, so we could put food away. But what's interesting about those dynamics is whenever you're in a family setting, the standards change. We tend to put standards very high when it comes to family members, because we're very familiar with them. And so we expect so much more out of them sometimes than they can actually deliver. And so just a few moments ago, we're talking about potential and performance. We expect our family members to perform at such a high level compared to anyone else.
You're right.
Because, well, they're a family, and we know what's good for them. In fact, we know what's better for them. And so when you look at those dynamics, unfortunately, all the pathologies that come with family dynamics, people being competitive, people trying to show that they've done better than you, those things start to come out. And so we have to be very sensitive at that time, because when you think about it, it's Thanksgiving. It's about us getting together and giving thanks for all the wonderful things that we do have, all the benefits that we've been given. And unfortunately, in that setting, in relationships, we focus so much on the things that really hurt the family more than bring the family together. And I understand that family life is difficult. I have yet to find a person who doesn't have a dysfunctional family.
Praise the Lord. Yes.
I think all families are practically dysfunctional, because
Right.
there's a portion of our family that doesn't fit a certain mold based on someone else. And so when I think of Thanksgiving, it's about us recognizing the gifts that each person has. You know, one researcher named Yalom always says that there are certain givens in life. There are certain things we're going to have to deal with as we age, as we grow, as we improve. And my hope is that during Thanksgiving, we would actually be there for each other in such a way that we can help each other transition through the givens in life. My brokenness is very different than yours, very different than someone else's. And so we have to be very sensitive to that brokenness. And I think once we start to recognize that, we start to become a little bit more compassionate towards our family.
Sure.
Now, I haven't met a family yet that has at least one other sibling or 2 kids that doesn't have an idiot brother or an idiot sister.
Sure.
People make mistakes. They do dumb things. Unfortunately, we tend to judge our family based on their last worst act, when what we should be looking at is looking at the full microcosm of who they are, because they still have gifts and blessings that they get to bring towards us. And we have to find ways to help them through what they're going through. So during this season that's about to come on us in the next few weeks, I think it's important for us to recognize that if family is going to survive, because I think family really is the center of society. Once you move from family, then you move to organizations and communities and so forth. But if you don't really focus on honing in on their strengths, recognizing who they are and appreciating who they are, it makes it very difficult for you to have a genuine understanding of what family life really should be.
Absolutely. That's very enlightening.
Thank you.
Very, very enlightening. I want to let the listeners know where they can learn more about you and what you do. Where would the best place for them to find you?
Our website.
Okay.
And it's www.kozhimakai.com.
And that's KOZHIMAKAI.com.
That's correct.
And do you have any events coming up or speaking engagements coming up within the next few months?
Most of our work for the remainder of the year is private events.
Okay.
And so I'll be working with clients, behind closed doors, if
Sure.
we call it that.
Sure.
But we have some public events that we'll be working on for next year.
Awesome.
And as soon as we know, we'll reach out.
Yes,
and
let
you
us know, and we'd be happy to blast it out on the airwaves and let people know to come out and see you. And so, Kozhi, thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate it. And is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to meet with you and
Absolutely.
to share our story. I think there's great value in stories. There's a mode of organizational change called appreciative leadership. And an appreciative leadership or appreciative inquiry is about finding the stories within organizations. It's about finding best practices, and I think the best practices, they tend to lie within the stories. And as a person who's really focused on interpersonal communication and interpersonal relationships, it's those relationships that really make things happen. I was reading today, most people say that your wealth is in your list of people that you have, but the truth is,
Interesting.
Your wealth is actually in the relationships that you have.
I completely agree with that.
And I think the great value is in building and nurturing relationships, because from those relationships, it changes everything. It's easier for me to buy from a friend than for me to buy from a stranger. And so it's wonderful to make one less person a stranger. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, you have a fantastic day and a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you, ma'am. You too.